guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Moon and welcome to Moon's Intuition. Now today, just a disclaimer, if you're not a religious person or into divination, please exit out this video. This is for entertainment purposes only. Nor do I have the hands to control or change certain outcomes. I'm just a messenger, honey. So without further ado, let's get into this emergency reading. It's because of what's going on in the world, the matter of everything right now what's going on. I want to touch bases on this whole Ukraine and Russia. The reason is because if you know anything about the Great Tribulation, you know the Great Tribulation, I think, lasts like for 7 or 8 years. Don't quote me, do your own research. But I know when I was younger, my grandma would always talk about this, and you know how they talk about nation versus nation and because of the resources. Okay, so the aftermath of the whole reason of Russia versus the Ukraine, I'm giving you the aftermath. So now we have the six. Yeah, these are 6 of Swords. Justice. Wheel of Fortune in reverse. And then the Knight of Cups. Okay, so pretty much with the Justice card is pretty self-explanatory. So the Justice card is dealing with justice, karmic justice, consequences, legal disputes, law, truth, honesty, cause and effect, integrity, and life lessons. So pretty much with the whole Justice card, it mostly talks about you must try to keep yourself on an even keel as events unfold. Also, this can indicate, that you have a choice to make when it appears with this card. Also, it talks about weighing up all your options and balancing the scales. And when it comes to justice, it does talk about all action have consequences. So the actions of what is going on with this has consequences. As well as, how justice has the scales, it talks about balance. Everything being in a fair, balanced matter. That's what this card means. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next major arcana. So when it comes to the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, pretty much has to deal with a lot of negative and unwelcome. A lot of negative and unwelcome change, as well as a challenging time that is very difficult for people to adjust as what is going on with Ukraine, everybody getting guns, even the kids and the elderly. Now, this talks about, things have been going well for them, and now everything has suddenly and quite unexpectedly fallen apart. So, however, in this case, it is an outside factor. So this current situation is likely to a result of decision of something. Okay, so this decision going on right now is most likely a result of the decision someone made to make all this happen. So pretty much, this has a lot to do with karmic lesson. So when it comes to this situation, and how we talk about justice, it's all about karmic lesson. Like at the end of this, karma is going to prevail. At the end of this, something is going to move to the light at the end of all this. Because everything's unexpectedly falling apart. Clearly what's going on right now today. So this is the whole aftermath. So, just type of change is what people expected. And now their life is abruptly switched gears and it's very negative. Now, with this type of deterioration that's going on could leave people feeling powerless at the end of this, out of control, as the external forces are working against them. And this is pretty much what we're seeing. We're seeing this external force, which is the oppressors. Did I say that right? Oppressors coming to you know, invade someone's space. Pretty much, this is the whole aftermath, and people, of course, people are not going to take this lightly. People are not going to sit up here and feel like they should have to surrender and have to just adjust to this. Of course not. So when it comes to this also does talk about karma. This everything was going right here is a whole justice. It's a whole karmic lesson. This does talk about karma. And it does, everything that happens in life has a karmic lesson at the end. And it does. So a lot of things are tough right now, the whole aftermath of what's happening, but justice will come. I'm leaving that part as that, because I'm just reading the aftermath. Justice will come, because everything has to be balanced at the end of the day. And it do. And I don't know if you guys read the tweet. Was it a tweet or was it like an Instagram? I think it was a tweet. Biden put on there talking about about how Russia's gonna pay, they can't get away with it, such, pretty much what he said. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and read the Knight of Cups in reverse. So with the Knight of Cups, I find it very very ironic that it's a horse. Hint hint. But yeah, so the Knight of Cups we have in reverse here. Now with this card, it talks about it's reversed, so it's negative. It talks about a lot of negative news, bad news. When this type of card is prompted up, reverse, it does talk about a lot of heartbreak, sorrow, and disappointment. Now with this card, be very aware when you come to confrontation. It's best for you not to jump into conclusions. Do not jump into conclusions, and check your facts before taking action upon something. Because with this type of card, it does talk about a lot of turmoils, emotional turmoils, and a lot of stressful situations when this appears, which right now, this right here, the aftermath is a very stressful situation. And before people start pointing fingers and start going crazy, they need to get their facts straight. So when it comes to external forces, just get the facts straight before, because this right here is a very touchy, sensitive situation. So rather than it talks about rather than with a lot of this, it may, people sometime may avoid taking action, rather than this talks about avoiding to take action rather than confronting a situation head on. This is what this talks about. It talks about avoiding an action rather than confronting a situation head on. So with this, I'm not completely sure about how this transpired, how this happened, but for me, I'm seeing that, with the aftermath, I feel like maybe, their president, Ukraine, maybe, I'm not sure, don't quote me, but maybe he didn't, because I know he did talk about, people, give people guns and stuff like that, because, they may get attacked this day, because Russia, Putin, he talked about, he said he's going to attack them. And of course, their Ukraine's president, who's over them, he, gave people guns. But I feel like maybe, maybe he didn't think this would have came to what it came to. Maybe he avoided confronting it, No, maybe he avoided taking action on this situation rather than confronting it head on. Maybe he should have confronted Putin way before this could have transpired. And now it's transpired. Now it's nothing you can do, because now you're under attack. Only thing he can do is make sure his people have the weapons and everything that they could protect themselves. But it's kind of like, damn, maybe you could have handled this better. Maybe you could have told him, hey, look, we good, chill, what's up, or came into an agreement or something, it's a lot, like a lot of procrastination. Like, you could have did better. Like, you avoided taking action. You should have just like confronted him, like talked to him about it. That's what I'm getting the vibe from with this, pretty much in a nutshell. That's the vibe for that card. So yeah, let me go to the next. At the end of every storm is a rainbow. So this card is my calm card. Six of Swords talks about moving into calmer waters. It does represent progress, moving on, moving forward with life. You know, overcoming a hardship, healing, relief, and stability. So, you know, expecting all this to settle down in a sort. I don't know when it's gonna settle down, but somewhere it's gonna calm down. Things are gonna get back under control. I don't know how, but I don't know how. Calm down, but all I know is like it's gonna be some karma prevailing in this. It's gonna be some karma, and it is. So that's the whole aftermath of everything. So let's get into the nitty gritty. So you're probably gonna like this one. So the nitty gritty, we're gonna talk about what if the U.S. intervene. What's gonna happen if we intervene. So we have the Magician upward. We have the, what's this, Four of Wands reverse. We have the good old Devil card and upright. Then we have the King of Pentacles in reverse. So let's go ahead and get to that on the next set. So we all know the Magician upright is, a pretty good card. So it talks about a lot of power, influence, willpower, resourcefulness, logic, intellect, concentration, and psychic powers. That's what it talks about. Because, we have affinity, we got that. We got a couple of the pentacles, the cups, swords. It just, you get into like how it looks, you can just see. So yeah. So this card, it does talk about, a lot of like positive changes coming in the circulation. It talks about, with this type of major arcana, it does talk about a lot of willpower, intellect, and concentration to make things happen. So with the Magician card, it talks about, having the power to manifest the outcome you want. So it's a good card. With this card, with this situation, it's a good card of having the power to get things done, having the power to, use the resources, the logic, the skills to, pretty much make things happen for people. That's what that card talks about. With the Devil card, talks about illusions. You understand what I'm talking about? So with this card talks about, powerlessness, dependency, hopelessness, violence, and assault, and such like that. So with this card, it talks about feeling as if the outside influences are forcing you beyond your control or restricting you, leaving you feel powerless and victimized. But with this Devil card, the devil is all about illusion. What you see is not what it seems to be. Like, it's almost like what if the U.S. intervene with this. It talks about, it may feel like what the situation that is going on may feel like it's beyond our control, and it may feel like being powerless, or victimized. But remember, the devil creates an illusion. The devil, like it was glowing, but the devil makes it seem like, oh, it's this way, but it's not. And it's pretty much like to not give up and not give away your power. So pretty much like the U.S. is intervening for better to not, to not give up on our allies, helping them through. Now, So now it's time to get to the Knights of Pentacles. Now, this card right here got me thinking. It got me thinking. It got me thinking. So this card talks about a person losing their grip on things and not reaching their goals and not seeing things through the end. So it talks about a collapse of an empire, this card. pretty much talks about, you know, an ungrounded male, unsuccessful businessman, corruption, distortion, poor judgment, collapse of an empire, underqualified, you know, greedy decision, hasty decisions, you know, unsupportive, discouraging, uncaring, ruthless, and losing the grips of things. So that's what that means. So it talks about a person losing their success, you know, or having a lack of success and being impractical and on principles, taking ill-advised risks and making hasty decisions or having poor judgment. So this type of person gonna be an older, ungrounded, or unsuccessful man. So it's two extremes. It's two extremes of this King of Pentacles in a reverse position. So the first is an older man who is, you know, lazy or bad in business, or a person who just has poor judgment. So usually with this person, they are an unsuccessful risk taker. A person, you know, in a week has an extreme negative, who's extremely negative. It does talk about a person being ruthless or corrupt, you know. Pretty much, you know, I mean, you could point fingers to whoever this may imply to, but it talks about a person who pretty much is not that good for this job. Yeah. In that way. So I'm going to close that one out with the next card. So for this card, I remember posting this card when Biden and Kamala first got in office. And the card that I posted was this card, the Four of Wands. But it was in reverse. You know how it talks about victory, coming together, you know, being happy, yada, yada, yada. Now the card comes in reverse on this situation with if the U.S. intervenes. So this card talks about a lot of self-doubt, neglect, uprooting, lack of success, lack of support, lack of teamwork and achievement, community being divided, lack of community spirit, feeling unwelcome, and cancellation of events, cancellation of, you know, postpone, unhappy families, and for one, leaving home. So, you know, I know we do have a lot of troops that's leaving home, leaving where they're stationed at to come fight. That's self-explanatory. So this card, it talks about, you know, so when I asked for more clarity on this card, you know, and it gave me the Strength card. So with the Four of Wands in reverse, it talks about having, it's the Strength card. So with the Strength card, you know, it does talk about inner strength, courage and bravery and confidence, you know, compassion, overcoming self-doubt. That's what that talks about in a nutshell. So with this card, it talks about overcoming obstacles we face in relation to our own doubts with what's going on right here. So even though a lot of families are going to be divided, a lot of families being split up, and all the chaos of what's going on, we must have strength. We must have courage. We must have faith in this type of restricted options, indecisiveness, lack of planning, fear of the unknown, staying put, cancellations. So this talks about a lot of lack of, you know, planning, and, you know, having a lot of change and fear of the unknown, and being held back and disappointed. Now this talks about a lot of people staying put, a lot of people deciding not to go, a lot of people deciding not to, like, leave. You know, people just trying to sit back. You know, this part does talk about counsel immigration, you know, give or take what that may mean to people. But it also talks about a lot of delayed counsel or delayed travel. Now when it talks about, like, when it comes to, like, delayed travel or canceled travel, I feel like with this situation, like, people are going to be staying still with this situation. Like, a lot of us Americans are going to be, like, at a standby, like, just staying still, like, to see what happens. Like, I could see people not traveling as much. I could see, like, you know, people just trying to delay traveling, or, like, just, like, kind of have their options. Like, certain things are going to be, like, restricted, like, when it comes to the situation. Because, like, if we go to war with anybody, yeah, it's going to be a lot of cancel of trips and a cancel immigration, and people, us Americans, staying at home, staying at a standby, you know, having a lot of restricted options, fear of change, fear of the unknown, because it does talk about fear of the unknown. So it's like, if we go to war, it's going to be fear of the unknown, because we don't know what the hell is going to take place, what the hell is going to happen. You feel me? So yeah, that's that card. With the Eight of Swords, we have, you know, the person blindfolded, but it's Eight of Swords. So this talks about, like, you know, the reading, the meaning. It talks about escape, freedom, release, finding solutions, options, relief, taking control, standing up to abuse, survivor facing fears, facing truths, releasing anxiety and such. End of punishment, severe depression, oppression, surrender. So what it talks about, this card talks about, you know, relieving pressure, releasing anxiety, facing fears and truths. You know, finding solutions and options to certain situations and to ask for help and overcome certain obstacles. Now, in extreme needs, in other situations, it does talk about extreme oppression, surrendering to pressure, or being completely paralyzed by fear and depression. So, surrender to pressure. What that could mean, surrender to pressure. I just think that we as Americans should just patiently get our mental ready, get our affairs ready, just get ourselves ready. Because now the last card is a Page of Swords. So with the Page of Swords, it talks about a lot of patience needed, delayed news, planning, inspiration, protection, guarded, thinking before you speak, and to not get drawn into arguments, using your head. You feel me? Fighting injustice, being truthful, speaking out. So with this card, it does talk about maybe, you know, this type of card is pretty much like, it may be telling you to be patient, to think before you speak, and to not get drawn into any unnecessary arguments or conflicts. It also talks about fairness and speaking out and fighting for injustice. So that's pretty much what the U.S. is doing, you know, fighting for injustice is what we're doing. But also, you know, okay, so the oracles we have is victory and success. So if this card was upright, it would talk about completion, victory, you know, a positive card. It would mostly talk about, you know, success that often follows a difficult period. But this card is in reverse. So when it comes to the situation about if we were to go head to head with Russia, it wouldn't be good, and it would not. Also, with that being said, I also have another oracle that popped up with victory in reverse. So with that card, that means in reverse from victory, it's almost like a confirmation that it won't be good. So this card, victory reverse, signals a delay, a reversal, and a hope for outcome, whether it's personal or a external. And this card we have is recognition and reward. So with this card, it does talk about people coming together as a group, families or a group of people coming together, all of whom are aiming and striving toward a common goal. So it's pretty much talking about if all shit hit the fan and shit don't go right, a lot of people that you may not ever seen are going to try to come together because they all have the same goal. Try to come together and try to pretty much, you know, the U.S. is going to have to accept the help that's being offered. So if something were to go down, we will have to accept all help, all hands on deck. Speaking, I don't know why, like my voice just went hoarse for no reason. Like, okay, so this card talks about finding yourself to become more attunative and more aware of the spirit's presence and more powerful in your own healing practices. So now is the time to open up to unexpected guidance and inspiration of spirit to do the magic and power of your true identity. Now is the time for people to come together as a whole and accept all the help we could get, especially when it comes to spirituality. Now is the time for people to be more into their religion. Now is more time people to be more into their spiritual work. Now is the time for people to get their shit together. Whatever, you know, whatever it is, your spiritual work, your herbs, all that, your Bible, get more into it, because now is the time for us to really, really, really connect ourselves to spiritually. Now is the time. Us pretty much getting through the challenges and the obstacle that's being faced and that's being thrown at us. So with that being said, we have number 30. The garden at the gate. The garden and the gate. So it talks about us being aware Be aware, the choice to stay in the seeming security of this lovely garden may be actually motivated by habit or fear of the unknown. Damn, I'm good. You know how the other tarot card we talked about, the fear of the unknown? Man, I love how this shit correlate. It like it's mind-boggling every day. And I don't really read tarots that much. But when I do, just know spirits be coming to a girl. So yeah, so it talks about the beauty is enticing and worth enjoying, but you may not be giving your spirit the freedom to roam. You have the choice to shift your focus and widen your spiritual perspective and gain the world that is outside your garden. And I feel like this has a toe-to-toe when it comes to the karmic, the justice card, and then we just talked about, the door to spirit. So I feel like this it does hand in hand talk about that. Afraid to like people fearing of the unknown, people not knowing what to expect, and like people just staying, like trying to seclude themselves, just want to, I just want to stay home. Like I don't want to leave. I don't want to walk out into this side because I don't know what's going on. But in a different perspective, like it does talk about like, it's just us gaining our spiritual. We need to widen our spiritual perspective on things. Like us Americans, just be more aware of our surroundings and not just to stay in one little bubble because we're afraid of what's going to happen. Now, for the last two cards we have is Fulfillment of Wishes and the Angel of Balance in reverse. So these cards, 2 to 2, talks about mostly like, when it comes to fulfillment of wishes, like things aren't being how it's used to being. When it comes to like fulfillment, like everything's in order, everything is coming to fruition. That's not this case. So pretty much with the Angel of Balance, it talks about pretty much being out of balance at this time and any energy regarding the externals and internals and what's going on in life. So pretty much, indicating certain particulars, you could do that how you want to do. But it talks about us as Americans, we need to right now we're busy working, busy being obsessed over relationships or over money. We just need to relax at this time, sleep more, even just drink a little bit more water at this time. At this time, we just need to focus on our family, focus on us as a whole, because certain situations that's going on right now isn't too good. I mean, me I think I'm Generation Y. I'm just kind of like, I'm tired of experiencing these life events going on. Like, it's overwhelming, really, seriously overwhelming. Like, I'm just tired. Like, every time I look on my phone or look at the news, it's some BS going on down. Somebody's killing somebody. Somebody's going to war. Somebody's fucking beheading somebody in different countries and shit. And it's a hassle. And, it makes my chest hurt. Thank you so much for watching, for tuning in, and also, hearing my little rant. Well, not really a rant, just like information about what's going on with me. And, so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, turn your post notifications on, and you guys have a nice day. Bye.